just to do a quick introduction of myself, I've been working with companies for about the past 20 years, implementing sales and marketing, basically customer-facing systems for them, from that sales and marketing side right through to call centers and support and that type of thing. The webinar today is to look at DynamicsCRM. I've worked with it for about 10 years. It's really our platform of choice. So what I'll do is give you a CRM overview first of the industry, and then really getting right into DynamicsCRM itself. We have other webinars. We've got a sales process methodology webinar. We have marketing. We have a number of other ones, and they get a little deeper into the various areas. This one is meant just to be an overview, but I'll have some specific examples of what other companies have done with it. Okay, next slide. So for today, we'll do that quick overview, look at how it integrates with Outlook and Office, a little on account management, contact management, opportunity management, a bit on dashboards and analytics, and a little bit into integrated marketing. And if we have some time, I'll show you Inside View as well, which is, we like to call that smart data. Okay, so to jump right into an overview, and I only have a few PowerPoint slides. I'll probably spend about 2 or 3 minutes on the slides. Most of the time will be spent with DynamicsCRM itself. But why I like showing this slide is it shows movement over time. So I've got 3 essentially time snapshots from Forrester research. So I've got 2007, 2010, and then the last one's 2012. And what it shows is 3 versions of CRM from Microsoft as it compares to the rest of the marketplace. So in 2007, you can see that DynamicsCRM was seen as one of the leaders in terms of strategy, a little weaker in terms of offering, but as you know, Microsoft continually reinvests, and that was really seen in their next release, which was called CRM 4, and that came out in around 2010 through 2009. And you can see here that when the research was done, it was seen as a leader both in terms of offering and strategy. And if you look at the size of the circle, you can see the market share grew significantly as well. Okay, fast forward to last year, and it was seen again as the leader. This is large scale. In the mid-market, it actually was up about here. So it was seen as a leader, again, both in terms of offering and strategy. And as well, it was, of this quadrant, the one that had the most complete market presence. So even though Oracle did scoot over here because they came out with an online offering, it really wasn't a complete offering. So Dynamics, again, is still seen as the leader, if not one of the key leaders in the area. Okay, some of the reasons for its leadership is, one, it's easy to use. So it works right out of Outlook. It will also work out of any like tablet device, web browsers, smartphones, that type of thing. And it's all, and everything I show you today will be done with the one license. So you don't have to purchase extra licenses just because you want to have it, running on a tablet or running on your smartphone. Okay. The fact that it runs out of Outlook, and really the only one that will run natively out of Outlook and connect with Office, is really meant to do that. That's one of the key features of why people like using it. Okay. It's configurable, so you're not faced with a situation where it's a new tool and now you have to change your business to run the way it runs. It really can complement your own strategies, and what we find in working with companies is that we help them create new strategies that then leverage the tool, not the other way around. It integrates with what you have, so you don't need a Microsoft ERP system in order to use Dynamics. You can use, we've got clients with SAP, JD Edwards, Amdocs, a whole host of different products in the back end, and Dynamics is really meant to integrate with them. Okay. We already talked about their investment before. They spend, the last number I heard was about $9.5 billion a year in R&D. A good chunk goes to DynamicsCRM because it's seen by Microsoft to be that capstone through which you access the rest of a lot of the tools that they have, okay, or tools that other companies have. Last point here is it's really the only one that gives you multiple deployment choices. So you can, run the old style where it's on-premise. You own it, you buy the licenses, you run it in your data center. But it will also do Microsoft hosted. Okay, so it can be run from Microsoft's data center or partner hosted. Okay, and in both Microsoft or us, if we host it, or another partner, it runs in the cloud. And we are Microsoft worry about how to manage the environment for you. And you don't have to deploy resources to do that. Okay, it's also a lot. You don't have a high upfront expense with hosted as well. It's just a monthly recurring cost. In terms of size, they have, and this is I guess about 6 months old now, but at this time about 2.5 million users, 45,000 customers. If you look at the number of actual users, it's one of the highest out there. If you look at share in terms of what they charge for the license, it's lower than some of the others for a straight fact that if you're only paying about half the cost for the license, for a dollar figure, the share is going to look older or lower. But from a pure customer and user standpoint, it has a very high number of users. Okay, they're global. We've got some companies that we work with that have Spanish and French and other languages if they have a global implementation, and it will support that. There's also over 1,200 partners that are Dynamics focused, and over 100 hosting partners, of which we're one. Okay, and that's it for the PowerPoint slides. I don't want to bore anybody, and I've seen too many presentations where it's all slide-based, so I'll get right into showing you what it looks like. Okay, so it runs out of Outlook. Now, we do have some companies that don't use Outlook. They'll use Gmail or other things, and that's fine. We even have one that had used Lotus Notes. And in that case, you can actually run it out of that or even just out of a web browser or tablet. Most companies, though, use Outlook, and that's why I like showing it first. Okay, so here's Outlook 2010. It will work as far back as the 2003 version and as far forward as the current 2013 version. So they, as Microsoft is known to do, they support previous versions, so you're not stuck having to upgrade everything at once. Okay, in here, you've got your inbox, you've got your sent mail and everything. Just essentially, it is Outlook. Few of the changes, though. In my inbox, you'll see that every now and then I've got these two little people attached to the email. What that means is that email is tracked in CRM. So if I click on it and delete it, I haven't lost it. It's tracked in my CRM system, and I can access it. The other thing is that anybody on my team can access it as well. Okay, so as long as they've got security rights to see it. And what that means is I can actually go on vacation, and if somebody needs an important email, it's there. Okay, to track, all you have to do is right-click on it and click Track, and it's that simple. You get the two little people, and now it's tracked into that contacts record in the system, and here he is right here. Okay, if I want to track it against an opportunity or a company or a project or any of the other areas in CRM that I have, I can do that just again by right-clicking, and instead of clicking Track, just click Set Regarding and pick what I'd like to track it against. I like tracking personally against the person, unless it's an opportunity, because CRM will actually roll it up for you. So if I'm looking at Alex's company here, it will actually roll up all the emails for any contacts or opportunities for the company, so I'm not clicking around trying to find things. Okay, so it's great for pre-call planning. Okay, now I can actually go right from here, right from my Outlook, and click on Alex, and his record will open up in the system. So instead of having to log into 2 or 3 different systems in the morning, everything's in one place, and I can navigate to everything right from my Outlook. Okay. The other thing I can do is, he'd like to maybe there's an opportunity there and he'd like to meet. Just to open up the email, and right from here I can convert it to an opportunity or to a service case or to a lead right from my email. I don't again have to exit and go into another system to do that. Okay. The other thing that's in here that people like using is, for any appointments. So let's say I've got a contract meeting. Okay, right from my Outlook, right-click on it, I can track it. And if people are, need to know where I am, it's right in the calendar, and it's tracked against that company that I'm meeting with. If my manager wants to see where people are, let's say, they have an important meeting that's coming up, and they'd like to, find who might be able to attend. It's tracked, and he or she can see where people are at any given point in time. Okay. I've also got all of my contacts in here. Now these are all the Outlook contacts. You'll see I've got this one tracked. Really easy to track again. So if I'm meeting with somebody, put them into my iPhone, that automatically syncs into Outlook, and I want to track that into my CRM. It's just a click. Okay, so there's not copying and pasting and that type of thing that you might see with other systems. Okay, and all my tasks are in here as well. Okay, so that's some of the Outlook functionality. Now, also in here, as you'd expect, you'd have your dashboards, activities, any of the companies and contacts, opportunities, and other things are right in Outlook as well. So just to give you an example, here's my dashboard. You can actually have multiple dashboards. I'll get into that later. So I've got maybe things that I want to track as a rep. So here's my pipeline. There's some revenue by promotion activity. Here's my renewals that are coming up. Here's people that are registered maybe for an event coming up. And here's all of my tasks and activities that I've got all in one place. Okay, and as I'll show later, this is very configurable both by your own companies and by people individually. Okay, so they can have their own custom dashboards. Okay, from here I'll show one last thing. I'm just going to bring up, show you companies, and let's look for one. Okay, here's Sharp. So here's all the companies that have the name Sharp. Okay, now I've actually preloaded all of the Scott's directories companies in Ontario in my CRM here. We'll often do that, and based on the client, there's different sources that we'll use. So sometimes it's Scott's, sometimes it's like D&B or Hoover's, that type of thing, and sometimes we'll use what we call Smart Data, which is inside view, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. Depending on the company, sometimes that's valuable, and sometimes it's not. So it all depends on the types of organizations you're going after and how dynamic that environment is. Okay, so here's the list of the companies that contain Sharp. Sharp Electronics is the one I'm looking for. There's a little preview over here, and just click on it. And now I've brought up their record. Okay, now this layout is very flexible. I'll show a little bit of more on that in a second. But I can have up to 4 fields on every row, and it will actually scroll down a fair ways. So everything is really in one place. The other thing that's important to note here is that in your organization, sometimes people that we work with will have multiple divisions or will have different roles within an organization that really need a different view of the same end customer. So Dynamics allows you to do that. You can have multiple forms, and just to give an idea, we did one here for a brewery. Okay, and they want it to have still the same. This is the same company, but now I've got sales over here, and I can look over year sales all in one place. Okay, we'll go back to this form. Now in here I've got, we definitely do a lot of social media tie-in, so here's their LinkedIn connection. I can click on that to see any updates on LinkedIn. If I'm going out to visit with them, just click on the map. Okay. There we go. And I can see a picture of what it looks like, and here's the location, and then just go off and get directions and that type of thing. Okay, now this is something that I use for my iPhone all the time, and the iPhone layout can be really any way you want it, or any any smartphone. The big difference between a tablet and maybe running it through Outlook versus a smartphone is that you essentially have one column, because that's about all you can fit on a little phone. And what I use it for is often doing a quick pre-call plan to see if there's anything I should know about before I walk in. And I also use the map all the time because sometimes I'm in transit and I have to remember how exactly to get there. Okay, some of the other things. We'll often tie into back-end accounting systems, so we'll bring in things like last year's sales, year-to-date sales, their credit status, AR information, okay, maybe invoices. That can be really handy from an account management standpoint. Okay, may also want to track relationships, and this can be important for, especially if your organizations deal with intermediaries. That may be retailers that sell to the end customer, or it could be distributors that sell to end retailers. It could be engineering firms that do design specs for the end customers as well. So relationships allow you to keep track of things like companies and contacts and maybe opportunities that relate to this company but aren't directly related. So they're not, let's say, contacts that are employees of the company. Okay, we'll often tie in projects for companies that are project-oriented. So there might be weekly reports or project plans or other things we'll embed as well in here. Okay, documents, if you have document management systems like SharePoint, they can be integrated. So as soon as you create a new company, it will go off into SharePoint and create a folder for it, and then any relevant documents are shown here. So you don't have to exit your CRM system to go to a document management system to find things. It's all in one place. Okay. The other thing that's already here as well is any notes and activities are in here. So as soon as you create a new note, it will put a time and date stamp on it, tell you who made it, and you can even browse and attach a document to the note. Okay. So if you don't have a document management system, that's okay. You can still attach any proposals and contracts and other things right within the notes section. Okay, now the other thing that usually we'll have in a company record are any outbound activities or inbound. So that might be appointments, phone calls. I use this for an example all the time, so I've got a lot of appointment examples, tasks, and other things, either with that company or with any contact or opportunity that are associated with that company. Okay, so you've got everything in one place. Okay, now here's all the contacts that are associated. Okay, I've got contacts as well and opportunities. Okay, so if I'm looking for a contact, I'll just type in, let's say, there you go, here's Sarah Thomas, and here's Sarah Thomas's record at Sharp. Okay, now I'm going to pop out of Outlook. Everything I've done so far is in Outlook. Just to show you that the web browser looks very much the same. And you might use this, just on often people in a call center environment like running with a web browser. It's pretty quick to bring up information if they're not in Outlook all the time. Or sales or service people on the road will often want to open their CRM right through a web browser instead of, if you can't load Outlook on a tablet. You can definitely bring up a web browser, very quickly. Okay, so here's the tablet or browser-based view, and let's look for Sarah Thomas again. That's who I brought up in Outlook just a second ago. Okay, here's her record. So I've got, just like in companies, I've got different layout options based on my role. Here's her map. I can have her LinkedIn connection too if I want. Here's all the outbound communications I might want to keep track of, and I often, this one was done for an aircraft company, so they wanted to know if they could have their own fields in here, and yes, you can. The marketing communications area is really important to outbound marketing programs. So with CRM, you can have, included in it are something called dynamic marketing lists. And what that means is the marketing list is dynamically built based on what you say you want to have in as opt-in options for the list. So you can have a simple one like everywhere where somebody has the holiday card clicked on, then add them to the holiday card list. Okay? Or you might be putting together a golf tournament and all the people where their golfers clicked on, and maybe the company of it is a certain type. So let's say they're customers and type A customers, then put them on the list. Okay? And it can also be even more involved. So you might say, I'd like everybody on this list where their role is finance executive, and the company that they work for is in this industry, and the company is a prospect, and they're within this certain geography. So if all that's correct, then I'd like them to be part of this marketing list. Okay? And you can do, as I'll show later, an outbound marketing campaign where you're keeping track not only of, okay, I'm sending out this email, let's say, but also feedback in who's received it, who's opened it, what links have they clicked on. And through workflow, you can automate the process, so you can have that full closed loop model to say, okay, we're sending out 500 emails. Anybody that opens and clicks on this link, we'd like to do a follow-up sales activity. And that can all be managed through workflow, so it just runs. Okay? And the starting point of that is this dynamic marketing list capability that's built right into it. Also in contacts, we'll often keep track of, again, relationships, just like we talked about in companies, event registrations, and that could be both physical and virtual events, like web events like you're in today. And we can also do courses and course registration for those firms that manage different training seminars that customers might actually pay for. We'll often do, as I talked about with the marketing communications, we can show you what links they clicked and when they clicked it, if they forwarded it, that type of thing. Okay, and keep track of updates and notes, and as we looked at with companies, activities, and that type of thing right within in the CRM record. Okay, so that's contacts. Now for opportunity management, there's a whole area for that. Here's a list of opportunities. Now opportunities are something where you can have very different looks and feel and flow in an opportunity based on the types of sales your company actually does. So what I'll show you today is one way of doing it. There's many other different ways, and we'll configure that based on client needs. Okay, so an opportunity will usually have a name, will be linked to a customer, could also be linked to a contact. We'll have a promotion that may have kicked it off. Would have maybe a lead source as well, and there may be other things involved like estimated revenue, close date, next step date, sales stage, probability of win, and so forth. For some organizations, we've done some member-based organizations that still have opportunities, but they're a little different. So it might be sponsors that they're going after, and there's various sales stage for going after sponsorships. There's other companies that have, may not be revenue they're going after something else in terms of putting together partnerships and that type of thing. But they can still use opportunities. We would just configure the screen a little differently. Okay. For a pure sales opportunity, what we'll often do is bake in sales process right within the opportunity. So for a small opportunity, companies may want to confirm they have a budget, senior management support, they've got a need, and that may be all you need. If the opportunity is a very large one, we might bring in things that are a real sales process and sales methodology, methodologies for larger opportunities, $1 or $2 million opportunities, and that's where you might be getting into, who do we know, networking within the organization. We can actually pull in your LinkedIn connections as an organization to see who knows whom at a company, and we talk more on that in our sales process webinar. Simple questions like, can we win? Is there a compelling need? And other things that formal sales methodologies will bring to the table. And that's baked right into your opportunity instead of having to go outside to fill out paperwork or fill in questions and answers at another site. It's all in one place. Okay. The other thing that we'll often do, if there are products or services attached to the opportunity, we can actually have them here and even do quoting and other things right within CRM. Okay. Now, back to that list of opportunities. Now, this is a list of opportunities, but it could easily be a list of service issues or a list of companies or a list of really anything. It's called a view, and a view, you can have multiple views per entity. Okay, right now I'm looking at my open opportunities. And you can configure your own views right with doing a query, and you can say these are the columns that I'd like to see. Okay, we'll often see sales reps changing their view in activities where they're doing outbound phone calls and want to have it look a certain way that matches their work style. Okay. Now, if you wanted to analyze, let's say a sales manager analyzing their opportunities, or sometimes a member management organization might be analyzing the renewal list or analyzing their existing member list. You can do a number of things. Okay. One thing is you could pick everybody and send it over to Excel and analyze it in pivot tables or filters or that type of thing. And because it's all part of the Microsoft Dynamics suite, it actually works with Excel, and Excel can become a front end to your CRM. So if you save that spreadsheet and open it up a month from now, just click refresh, and Excel will refresh with your most current information. You don't have to go through that, exporting and loading and formatting every time. You can also take that Excel spreadsheet, send it to somebody else within your organization, and when they open it, they'll see it with the information they've got access to, not your information. And that can be very valuable for an organization that has, various branches or divisions, and they can actually share best practice and reporting and things like that, and know that people that are opening it aren't going to have access to potentially sensitive information that they shouldn't have access to. Okay. Aside from Excel, what they've done with this most current version is they've taken some of the Excel functionality and moved it right into CRM. So filtering is an example of that. Just click filter, and now all the columns are filterable, just like in Excel. Okay. The other thing that they've done is they've moved the charting into CRM. So the one that I like is looking at the opportunities by sales stage. Okay. So here's a funnel showing all my opportunities here by sales stage, and if I move my mouse over it, I can see so this is the proposal submitted stage, and I can see the revenue there. If I click it, now I can see, okay, these are the opportunities in that stage because it's dynamic, and then I can keep drilling down. So I can look at it by owning sales rep, or I could look at it by, let's say, probability of win. Okay, so there's, I can see that there's at the 60% stage, I've got almost $500,000. Click it, and now I can see the opportunities at that stage. Okay, and I could keep drilling down and drilling down and drilling down. This chart can be brought over onto my dashboard very easily. It takes less than a minute. Okay, so I can actually build a personal dashboard for myself, or it can be built centrally. And the chart itself is very easy to build. Okay, and just to give you an example of this one with all that drill down capability, it was just a matter of clicking on charts, new chart, and I was looking at estimated revenue by sales stage. Okay, and let's change the chart type to a funnel, and that's really all there is to it. Give it a name that I like, save and close, and then it's part of the standard charts in the system. And that dashboard that I showed you initially, essentially this is how I brought this chart over to it. And I'll just show you the dashboard. We'll go to Workplace. Okay, and then there's that chart that I added. Okay, if I wanted to edit it and change, maybe add another chart element, essentially just click Edit and pull it over, and I can make it bigger or smaller. Save it, and now I've updated my dashboard. Okay, it's that easy. In here, everything links. So if I want to see my estimated revenue by promotion activity, so here's where it is, or I want to see my contract renewals, it's all here. If I want to update it in real time, just click it and update it. It's really the only one that it can update things so quickly in the marketplace. Some will only do it in batch, including its biggest competitor, and you only get a couple updates a day. The other thing that I can do is just click on the link here and go right to that view, and then I'm in it, and I can just go in and change things and drill down on other things right from here. Okay. Scoot over into marketing for a second. Let's look at companies. Now the views, and I'm going to show you how to create them. I created one here, for example, engineering companies in Toronto. So I've got 156 of them according to Scott's. I created that view just by creating a query, and I'm looking at where the industry code is this number, and the city's Toronto, and then I saved it, and now I just have a standard view. I could just as easily say, let's take the industry code again, but in this case, let's look at schools. Okay, and look at the results. So I've got 426 schools in Toronto, and then just save and close, and now I can have a new view for schools. Okay, you can get more complex than that. So right now I was just looking at fields in the company itself, but you can actually look and do a query in not only that entity, which is companies, but in any entity that relates to it. So I could look at all of the companies with open opportunities that are at a certain sales stage, for example. Or I could look at all of the contacts who are VPs of finance and who are in a certain industry segment and whose company is a prospect and are in the in Ontario or Western regions. Okay, very easily do it, and then save, and then I can create a marketing campaign out of that. Okay, now the other thing that I can do, let's say this is a view set up for my call route as a sales rep, and I want to figure out how best to hit all of those on that trip. I can pick the ones that I think I want to visit. Okay, take a look at my map, and now they are all mapped out. In this case, the color coding means I think red is lapsed customers, blue is existing, and green is ones that I have active opportunities with. Okay, but you can change the color coding so it really matches your way of working. A lot of companies will color code it so that if the reps are in different areas, let's say they do city by city over the course of a month, you might want to have companies who I haven't met with in greater than X period of time might be red. So let's say I haven't seen them in 6 months and I should have. Green ones might be ones that I'm okay with, and blue that are sort of on the border. Okay, or I might want to, customers versus prospects versus lapsed customers is in this case might be the different colors. Okay, now when I do an outbound marketing campaign, let's just take a look at marketing communications. And now this is all just dummy data because people would get upset if every time I showed it I actually sent out real email. So I created one called webinar campaign. So I've got 152 emails in here. And with that charting that we looked at before, I can look at maybe a breakdown by city and see, okay, well, who's in Toronto? Okay, and this is the list of the ones that went to Toronto. And let's drill down. So I might want to look at it by maybe communication score, or maybe look at it by, let's do it this way, by communication score. So in here I can see that of the 152 in Toronto, 2 bounce back. So I'd want to follow up on those because it might be that those people left the company, and that might be a trigger point. So things have changed, so it may be an idea really for me to focus efforts on getting in there again. 8 of them were received but not opened. I've got 39 received and opened, 16 received open and they clicked on one link, and 87 received open and clicked on 2 links. And with that workflow that we talked about in the background, I can automate it. So if they clicked on a certain link or they have a score that exceeds, in this case, 4, or equals or exceeds 4, then I can schedule a follow-up call with sales because they've shown some interest in that. And that can really create a lot of value for the sales organization. So instead of sending out, maybe 500 emails in a month and following up on all 500, I'll only follow up on the ones that have expressed interest in that. So it allows sales to focus their time better and have a better close rate. Okay. The other thing that we can do is not only when they're clicking on emails to have that reporting back in the system, but also close the loop further and even tell you, of the ones we have a relationship with, here's the ones that are actually coming back to the website. This is what they're looking at. This is how much time they're spending. Okay, to really have that full closed loop marketing model right in here. And you can even use workflow again to say, okay, well, they came to the website and they looked at this on the website. Let's do a follow-up call with them as well. So in addition to the email, you've also got the marketing insights through your website and actually tie right back into who they are. Okay. All right. So that's that's a bit of an overview on marketing. Rob, is there anything that I missed that you wanted me to show in this case? Do you want me to show that inside view?
Yeah, if you can show inside view, we call it smart data, so leveraging smarter data to target companies and contacts. So yeah, if you can cover that, that would be great.
Okay, so I don't think they have it in this environment yet, and just so people know, this is an environment that I use to show things where I won't actually send emails out or do things that, so it's locked off. So we're getting our smart data implemented in it. They have a special firewall that they want to put up so it doesn't actually go out and do things. But for now, what I'll do is I'll show a couple of slides. Okay, so what inside view is, it embeds right within the contact record in CRM, or well, actually this contact and company. I usually use it out of companies. So when you're looking at a company like Sharp in this case, it will actually show you top-level information like revenue, number of employees at that location. It will actually show you who they are. So we'll show you key individuals at the C-level and below. Any industry buzz, such as social media, things that are posting on their website. They actually aggregate over, is it 3,000 or 30,000, Rob, different data points?
It's 30,000.
They're up?
Yep, it's 30,000.
30,000. Okay, so it's a fair number. They cast a wide net. So it will show you things about that company that you might be calling in right within your system. It will also show you, again, the key people. You can also set triggers on it. Okay, and this is something that I like doing. So you can say that if they've had a change in management, so maybe they've brought in a new VP of operations, it will actually funnel that information right through to your email, okay, or we can have it funnel in through CRM itself, and then you can do follow-up sales activity on that. And those trigger points have been shown over time and proven to be the times that you want to get into organizations, because at a time of change, that's when they make different purchase decisions. So where you may have been stuck in the past, or it's gotten no decision because they're not ready yet, what the change means is that they've made a decision, they're going forward with something, and they will be going forward with change, and that's where you want to be part of that conversation. Okay. Now we have a whole webinar where we'll actually show that within CRM. We've got another environment that we do it out of, and Rob's actually the one that walks people through that. So if you are interested, feel free to reach out to Rob, and we can show how we can bake smart data right into your CRM.